Now, this right here is going to be another chance for us to determine the the top two teams from each respective group that will be making it into the next stage of the IESF World Esports Championship 2024 held in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We are here for you guys today at the English broadcast. My name is Hans Valeria, and together with me is Womi, bringing you the action right up on ahead, man. And I feel like, just like you, I am sure that everybody else is also looking forward, hopefully, for a lot of pretty intense games that we get to see today.
Yeah, after last night, I'm sure everybody watching IESF is just hungry for a lot of MLBB action. Right off the bat, we're going to watch USA go up against Morocco. And at this point, I feel like we could already say that USA is not going to enter this match as the underdog. They are looking at this match as something that they could possibly dominate, but that doesn't take away from Morocco, who could possibly be the dark horse of this group. Because if we look at the entire Group A, it's just filled with monsters that have a lot of international tournament experience.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for a lot of times that we've seen, right, the respective teams, I feel like it is also a chance and opportunity for us to take a look at what happened yesterday, because indeed we did miss on a lot of these. But as of the moment, you're looking at, on the left side, it's Saudi Arabia winning against Egypt 2-1, it's Mongolia winning against Ukraine 2-0, and it's Philippines winning against Morocco 2-0 as well.
Yeah, and for Group B, or the other group rather, we are seeing Indonesia dominating Guam. This is the one game that we were able to watch yesterday, and for the rest of this the series as well, you can see that all of them ended in sweeps. There was only one 3-game series in all of the games of yesterday, where it was Saudi Arabia versus Egypt. So right now, Malaysia is looking healthy. USA currently 0-2. If they're able to secure a win against Morocco, they're going to be really happy to get that. And with everything that's happening here, Hans, looking at Philippines and Malaysia, one of the best regions, or two of the best regions rather, in the world for MLBB, now 1-1. This is surely an intense battle.
It is going to be an intense battle. I wish we would at least have our eyes set on it, but apparently we're just going to be waiting for the results for it to happen. But one thing is for sure, whoever gets to win in that specific game and series will make it into the next round, because both of these teams have already claimed at least one series victory, apart from the one game victory that they have in this specific series of their very own. Just like what you mentioned, right?
I'm not quite sure about this, Hans, but looking at what happened to KSA in Indonesia, this is something that I really want to check out. If this is like, real, because right now it's really hard to believe. No offense to the Saudi Arabian team, but this is really a shocking series if ever it is correct. Like, this is 2-0 Indonesia and KSA rather. So we're gonna have to confirm that. But overall, it seems that Saudi is coming in here to play.
Yeah, bro. The hosts are not playing around. You know that they mean business as of the moment. Things that happened in the past, we're going to be taking a look at what could possibly be the next set of teams that will have a chance to stay alive here in our today's schedule. Morocco losing against Philippines is going to be on the line to go up against USA, who also lost to Malaysia from yesterday's matchup. And then for Group A, you're going to have Indonesia with their tournament life on the line. It seems so weird for me to say that as of the moment. And they will go up against whoever is going to be, you know, the winner or the loser of the other bracket in the respective people. I feel like this is going to be an interesting set of events. We have USA and Indonesia, two prolific regions in the name of MLBB, who are already in their tournament life, and I feel like that is, you know, saying a lot about the complexity of IESF so far.
Yeah, and for IESF happening in Riyadh right now, definitely these players came in, flew in, and realizing that the tournament is really a big competitive landscape. If you look at the players slotted in for each respective country, so you could see very familiar faces, a very few that we could say that is fresh out of the bat, but a lot of these players have already experienced a lot of international play, and some of them even visiting other regions as well. So I would say like right now for IESF, it's only just day 2, but we're seeing already like contenders for the possible championship already. So I'm very excited to see whether or not Morocco could recover from their tough loss against the Philippines. I mean, kind of understand that it is the Philippines for MLBB. So Morocco, big chance here to secure some points against USA. But for USA, surely they wouldn't let Morocco do that to them. You know, even one game counts, so maybe a 1-1 could be great for both squads here.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this last night too. About ever since the USA given us a shocker in the recent World Championship that happened like 2-3 years ago, they haven't really made a mark in the next set of tournaments that we've had. Always, unfortunately getting the exit in the first round, maybe in the group stages, and maybe in IESF, one of the tournaments that could feature the United States of America as well. Maybe they would want to change that. Going up against Morocco, I mean, it is still going to be a tough order to go for, because whoever is going to be winning here will be facing the loser of the Philippines and Malaysia. Because again, this is the group of death, right? So Morocco, they are indeed the complete underdogs here, but I feel like if you have at least less than 24 hours to learn from your opponents, I feel like the Philippines is one of the best regions or countries to look at in terms of like the gameplay in itself, because there's a lot of imports transported from one country to another, and I feel like they really do know what they're doing.
Yeah, and overall, the culture out there in IESF, especially all of the players in Riyadh, it's impossible that these players haven't shared information or at least scrimmed against each other. And that's the beauty of having all of them in one place. And I feel like this is one of the best reasons as to why IESF in Riyadh right now is working. Like you have all of these talents flying out from their respective countries, moving towards one singular goal and eventually reaching that. And what I love about that is it's not only the teams and players benefiting from the cultural exchange, but also all of the meta picks and other stuff like that, like local metas being exchanged as well.
Yeah, I feel like as in this moment, by the way, guys, you can take a look at the redeem code that is right there below. Go ahead and claim it, because as of the moment, while we're not telling you to check the redeem code, someone has probably claimed it already. But again, going back to what Wumi has mentioned, I feel like you're absolutely right. Given the fact that Morocco, I feel like this is one of the first few international tournaments of MLBB that they've ever been a part of, and as much as it is cool, right? It also gives you a chance to learn from some of the best regions of MLBB in the world. You have USA, you have Malaysia, and you also have the Philippines. I mean, of course, at first you're probably not talking to them, because again, they're your opponents and you don't want to go up against them like immediately. But right afterwards, I feel like most of our Filipino contingents, right, they would want to talk to their opponents, especially with the ones that they don't usually interact very often, because they're the new players in the block, such as Morocco. This happened way back in SEA Games, where some of our representatives from the Philippines were talking to players from Timor-Leste. They were trying to, learn more about the respective ideas and how they could make their gameplay even better. And I feel like for Morocco being, some of the new players on the block, they could learn a thing or two from the three countries here. But they're going to have to apply it quickly going up against USA to save their tournament life.
Definitely. And what I love about this is the pressure, the storylines building up as well. It's really something that would challenge Morocco and push them even further to be a better squad. And it seems that that sparked a memory right inside your brain, Hans. What's in your mind?
Yeah. I mean, I just want to go back to what you've mentioned from yesterday. It seemed like the Easy server as one of the USA's representatives from before.
Hey, no, not my words. Not my words. It's the community's label.
Right? Not our
label.
words. Okay. Someone who shall not be named has claimed Malaysia to be an easy server, and apparently it's Malaysia who is currently not part of the lower bracket. So,
Oh,
it's going to be pretty interesting as to how USA is going to be bouncing back from that. But as of the moment, you currently see USA and Morocco. This is going to be a best of three series, Umi. I feel like we haven't seen a game in a while. I'm just excited to see a lot of games here right now.
yeah, I'm really excited as well. Looking at the picks, you could see standard early picks here with the Gata Kacha and the Hilda as well. These two picks are really insane in the meta right now. Just the Thunderbelt stacking, the Revitalize, all of these things make up for a great frontliner that is also able to heal other people who want to stay in the front. And this also confirms this Grok pick for the side of Morocco already confirms that this is going to be an XP lane Hilda, something that we have seen rise in popularity for the past few weeks, and rightfully so. The Thunderbelt damage on this guy, or girl rather, is just really good in their current patch. So with the final bans, they take away the Nolan and the Lunox. It seems that they're targeting the gold lane in the jungle of Morocco.
Yeah, I actually find it very weird to not see, a jungler in the first phase of the picks. I mean, you still have a lot of options available, although the Nolan has already been eliminated here by the USA. So I feel like for Morocco, the idea that they want to have is to just fortify the durability of their lineup with the Hilda and the Grok as well. You have enough sustainability with those two heroes, and you can also set up some plays with the Grok and the Aurora as your combination. But you're starting to see somewhat of like a front to back composition from USA just because they already have the Suyu and the Gatot Kacha on their side. But for Morocco, they're going to be going up with a Claude, quite different from what we've seen yesterday. This is somewhat of a really good early, mid, and late game damage output. They have it all covered. It really is just going to matter on how they would be able to execute it in terms of the rotations.
Yeah, and so far in terms of the draft, I would say that the USA have secured quite the powerful pickups out here. You said the term front to back, and for the side of USA, they could definitely go front to back here with the Khalid plus this Gatot Kacha. A lot of survivability in their front lines, and you also have this Valentina that could potentially burst people down. Not sure for the Hilda, but definitely for this Claude. The moment the Claude comes in Hoon this time around, the Valentina still has his abilities. I think for the side of Morocco, this Claude has to bide his time. He has to find the perfect timing to enter with that Blazing Duet, because this is a lot of front up damage for the side of USA. And to respond, the side of Morocco takes the Joy, another assassin that's starting to rack up the popular pick so far.
Yeah, I like the pickup coming in from the Joy. It kind of like gives an option to easily evade most of the crowd control skills that will arrive from the side of USA, because again, you see the Nolan, you see the Alpha, even the Fanny being eliminated here by both of the teams in the ban. So I thought the idea that they had in mind was to go for something a little more agile, and they were able to do that. But the concern that I had here for the side of Morocco is whether or not both the Hilda and the Grok can go and match the rotation that the Joy is going to be going for, because Joy is pretty fast, and for most of the time, if it gets picked off in the early portions of the game, it's going to be a problem. And at this point, you can't risk those problems, because when you get 2 game defeats, you're going to be eliminated from the competition.
Yeah, it's very important that they secure their wins right now, because for USA, they do have that Suyu, a lot of early game clear, and Fried Chicken going in for the level 1 invade doesn't really work out, has to burn that flicker, but at least delays the Joy for a bit of maybe a few seconds.
Yeah, as of this moment, he had the right idea, just not the best execution, because Morocco had their eyes set on bringing Fried Chicken down, forcing the flicker to be able to get away from that one. 2 minutes in, you're gonna have to wait at least for 40 more seconds before that flicker of Fried Chicken comes through. Most of the time, United States and Morocco just safely getting most of their objectives as of this point. Best player trying to secure that level 3, and also you see a rival getting that faster rotations, but it's best player 1 being very aggressive towards that Riverside.
Yeah, trying to get that level 4 as fast as possible, but look at the damage coming in from this Suyu. Forces the flicker out of Kenji, and now short advantage here for the side of United States in the gold lane. A lot of pressure coming in from this Suyu, and still no kills on the board. It's a minute and 30, and I think both teams are just finding the perfect timing for their power spikes.
Yeah, both flickers for at least a member of each team has been burned here, but White Chicken and USA is going to have a chance. But look at this, though.
Pride of Ice already burnt here for the Aurora. Good for her that she had that passive, and that could have been a kill for best player 1. But now, here comes the Hilda, looking to protect the mid laner as well. Great response coming in from MOROCCO, trying to just respond to the pressure coming in from United States, but a lot of damage still coming in from this Suyu. And overall, just a trade-off in the rotation.
Yeah, just a lot of damage output in the early game for the United States. They know that Ayato is not going to be part of that skirmish so far, having the Flood on this side. But in addition, you know, Super Rival takes some time to get activated. You need that level 4. Unfortunately, he's level 5 now. He might be take the fight to the third one.
Yep, half HP on this turtle. Raging Sandstorm already used up, but here comes the Avatar of the Guardian, lands a none, and Super Rival has to run away. But look at this crowd control coming in from both squads. Still first blood going to the hands of United States. It looks like White Chicken is still alive, plus the Suyu as well. Flicker play coming in from Heisenberg. It's not going to be enough to secure that kill on White Chicken. 2 for none. MOROCCO takes the advantage.
Yeah, that was a really good counter attack coming in from Heisenberg, using that ultimate to at least force those extra players from the United States to get stunned, and that wouldn't have been possible as well without the wild charge. But look at this best player 1.
Oh no! Best player 1 has to dash away. Now Super Rival still alive, but looks like the turtle has to be reset here by MOROCCO. Their jungler is bleeding, almost getting a kill on best player 1 too.
No, bro, I cannot believe that they just let the turtle go. Like, they don't give a care in the world whether or not the turtle is low on HP. I mean, he probably had the right decision there. He was almost going to take one member of the United States down. But the only problem is he also didn't have enough HP to back the damage up, and as of the moment, it's United States and MOROCCO back and forth affair towards this very first turtle. And I feel like in this case, if you are MOROCCO, it kind of benefits you a little bit just because you already have 2 kills on your side, and the turtle's not happening just yet.
And Super Rival is level ahead against best player 1, which is really good for MOROCCO. You want this Joy to be ahead, especially up against this Suyu. In terms of retribution damage, still gotta give it to best player 1. You have the new hero generally just deals a lot of damage on the turtle, but in terms of fighting, the Joy definitely has more damage around that team fight.
Yeah, as of this moment, the turtle's still there. You know, 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and there hasn't been a single team who has taken a major objective in this one, not even a turret. So at this point in time, if you are MOROCCO, you're practically doing a good job, just because, you know, the Claude's being well taken care of. And I feel like if you are US, you're gonna have to force something.
Yep, Avatar of Guardian doesn't land on one, but look at that. Kenji comes in as well. Great crowd control coming in from Heisenberg. And now, Hilda trying to give vision for MOROCCO, but half HP on this turtle. USA trying to protect this objective real quickly, but I feel like it's already going to be a give. MOROCCO going to trade that turtle for some purple buffs.
Yeah, good utilization of those ultimates from the side of the United States. They also forced MOROCCO to get out of the position to try and contest for that major objective, and with that, they were able to take the first major turret, or major objective rather, of this game, and that is a way for you to take control, because again, it has been a stalemate so far. Not a lot of objectives being taken down, but I feel like now that most of the energy shields are completely out, as of this point, MOROCCO might have a very difficult time here, because 4 members are already going to the bot lane for US.
Yeah, but for USA, they're no longer trailing behind MOROCCO. For the longest time, we have seen that 600 gold lead on the side of MOROCCO. This time around, it's going to be on USA. And with that, they're going to try to control the pacing of this game, and probably to get that big advantage against Morocco. But now they're going to go for the gold lane. They're going to get one turret, and they will be able to secure that quite safely.
Oh, that's painful. If you're Ayato, you're starting to feel T's damage as of this moment, and you're really going to have to take care of business, and that is not the best case scenario for Morocco here if you want to extend the later portions of the game, because again, it went into the hands of best player one, and that is a dream if you are the Suyo. Not only do you have extra early game damage, you also brought down a turtle and in a kill to, you know, give it an icing on the cake.
Yeah, and not good for Morocco. Getting a solo kill on the assassin of the other team, and that was a trade-off between two junglers too. Upcoming, the last turtle is upcoming, and I feel like it's going to be smart for Morocco to either go for turrets instead or go for pickoffs before the turtles even start. They cannot just do or give it for free, but looks like they will be giving it for free instead.
Yeah, they had an idea to try to go for that L push on the lower side of the map, but they were unable to do so, and this is where things are starting to, you know, create problems for Morocco. When you use that conceal to just go ahead and escape in that certain situation, that starts to become a problem because you don't have anything else left to use.
Yep, Raging Sandstorm on one, Avatar of the Guardian lands in two, and Kenji gets taunted as well. Underneath the turret, Shark will be tanking a bit of damage. No conversions just yet for United States, but they're able to deal a lot of damage on this turret rather.
Yeah, just safe calls here from US. They're forcing team fights to take and win, and that is most especially during the times when Ayato is not part of that fight. You see him already in level 9, and even with Super Rival leading by at least a level in the first 5 minutes of the game, everything has changed as soon as best player one started to get that solo kill. Now they want to go.
Oh no, defensive ultimate coming in from Kenji. That's one of the saddest things that you can see coming in from a Grok. You don't want to use that wild charge defensively. So for Morocco, they're starting to lose the pacing of this game, and they can't really do much about it if they can't pull the trigger.
Yeah, they cannot pull the trigger in this one, and not only that, they are also unable to find anything in terms of objectives, because again, I feel like both Shark and White Chicken are really doing an incredible job in just making sure that every single member of Morocco has been taken into consideration, giving vision to both best player 1 and T for them to, you know, unleash at least the damage output that would be necessary for them to pull off the macro game. Because we saw Morocco a while ago, they're fighting tooth and nail here with the rest of the members of the United States, but as soon as the US went macro, I felt like Morocco didn't have a lot of answers, thus creating the 6K gold lead.
And you could see that with a low kill score too, 2-1 on the board, and USA is already ahead by around 5,000, almost 6,000 at least. It's just all about the objectives, all about the lane pressure, all about taking those turrets. And now Kenji might be in trouble, couldn't even move an inch, and that's going to be a kill for the side of United States, as the rest of the Moroccan squad has to go out and give the Lord.
Yeah, they're going to have to find a way to take this one down, and I feel like Rebel's going to force it.
Super Rival goes down, tries to steal it away, but sadly bites the dust instead.
My goodness, that was not the best decision there, apparently. I mean, you have Ayato, right? You even have Eisenberg, so you can absolutely defend this if you are, you know, Morocco at this point in time, but they're probably considering the damage output that, you know, the United States has, and whether or not they will be able to sustain the damage output that they will be having here. So for Morocco, they're gonna have to keep it in the base, and my goodness.
Yep, a lot of defense has to be played here for Morocco. Hoon does have the Frigid Glacier on his IMU, and this might just be the GG push if they're able to get at least one big engage. Here comes the Avatar, finds onto the Pride of Ice, already burnt as well, but Aito able to deal a lot of damage. That's 1 for 1 for now, and Shark is low in HP. Look at the damage on that Joy. T goes down, but best player still there. Heisenberg is alive. It's a 3-for-2 exchange, and looks like it's a successful defense for Morocco. And moving forward, it seems that we are looking at a potential extension in this game.
Oh, wow.
Morocco is still able to survive that one.
Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't see what was going on. All of a sudden, I feel where the strength of Morocco lies in the content that they have. As soon as Ayato finally joins the party here and just trying to gather most of those objectives, that is really going to pay dividends for this Morocco squad. The only problem is, if they fail to do that, they're going to go down.
Yeah, that's Kenji going down once again, and looks like Super Rival fighting for his life for that purple buff, able to get that. Was starting to hurt, honestly. Morocco is able to deal a lot of damage with this Joy, but the trick is he has to be able to use that rhythm of Joy and electrifying beats with a somewhat perfect rhythm. Looks like best player one catches him off guard. Shark on the other side of the map. That's going to be one inhibitor turret down, one left for the side of Morocco as they survive that initial push.
Yeah, they were unable to break on all of those inhibitors, but at least they were able to bring down one due to their aggressive nature that they really displayed upon start of the fight. Now it's USA trying to go at it again, and that is another one biting the dust here. Chris Combat finally getting back to base, and that is an advantage because in 15 seconds the Lord is going to be appearing in this match, and if you're 4 heroes up against 5, usually the numbers don't lie in that one.
Yeah, and they can't even contest this time around because it's like a 6k gold lead with their jungler on the other side of the map. They are going to be able to secure at least one turret for this Luminous Lord, but other than that, they're not going to be able to take anything else. In fact, the Khalid is rushing down bottom lane right now, and it might just be defended, but a little bit too late there. Morocco gets a turret. Meanwhile, USA gets the Luminous Lord.
Yeah, that is a really good trade if you are the US. I mean, Morocco practically doesn't have a lot of choice. When you take a look at it, everything has been invested towards their damage dealers. Both Ayato and Super Rival, they've done a good job in trying to stay within striking distance within the gold of the United States, but you can't lie, that 7k gold lead really is going to be a huge problem for them to claim victory in this one, because not only are they trying to gather towards that 7k gold lead, you also have a Lord marching onto the top side, and that is just one of the many things that you're going to have to take a look at. Will US be able to finish this game?
Yeah, let's see if they are going to be able to end it in this Luminous Lord push. Kenji, half HP. They're still going to look at this inhibitor turret in the mid lane, and they will be able to do so. Conceal play coming in from Kenji. Doesn't really land that wild charge, and now Ayato goes frozen and goes dead as the avatar lands, and Kenji might just be falling as well. Frigid Laser on 3, but that's not going to be enough, as will be a clean wipeout in the game for United States.
United States of America safely securing that game number 1. They had us in the first quarter, not gonna lie. Morocco probably had us in the first half, not gonna lie. And then all of a sudden, US just do what they usually do, right? Just making sure that everything has been unlocked. And I feel like for most of the tournaments that they have played, the experience of playing macro has really been showcased here. Their learnings towards playing against other regions and other countries as well has really benefited this team towards creating and making this victory possible for the US.
And I gotta say, best player one in that game really played well towards the mid to the late game. He was able to recover from a slight stump in the early parts of the game, and I think the Joy was ahead by 2 levels, but eventually he was able to deal with that the moment that they went in for the massive rotation. So I'm quite excited to see how he actually built that Suyu, because right now there's still not a fixed item slot, or a fixed item path rather, for that Suyu. And I did see a couple of War Axe out there, a little bit of sustain, and that is an option that we've seen, but we've seen like players like Carl TZ and other assassin users to go full damage. That also works out. So still a lot of experimentation running around on that pick, but surely in that game number 1, that wasn't an experiment at all. USA with a dominant victory.
Yeah, I mean, just like what we said during the start of the draft, both Best Player One and Fried Chicken are able to at least go ahead with the start of the initiation for the side of the US. And then all of a sudden, when all of those skills are finally exhausted and utilized, it's Shark's turn to just go with the Avatar of the Guardian and unleash those stuns and taunts towards the rest of the members of Morocco. Yes, pretty agile are the members of Morocco. You have the Claude, you also have the Joy, and the Hilda as well. The only problem is that when most of those skills are finally, burnt up through the constant and consistent fighting from one place to another, then it starts to become a problem for Morocco. In fact, they were able to at least hold down those, 2-0 kill score lead, but it didn't matter in the later portions of the game.
Yeah, and then at the later portions of the game, we did see Ayato deal quite a bit of damage, but sadly, it was caught off guard by Best Player One in that last team fight. And I feel like that's one of the game-winning plays, definitely, for the side of USA, taking away the gold laner in the last team fight. I think that was the last hope of Morocco as well to defend. If they were able to keep that Claude alive, and yes, he did have the winner's truncheon, and I feel like if he was able to keep himself alive for the last few seconds, that might have been a defense, but sadly, it was caught off guard, had to do the Blazing Duet Crown combo really quickly, and eventually just fell down.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm glad you mentioned the word fell down, because whoever loses in this series is automatically gonna fall down. Like, there's no point of return, because this is a double elimination setup, right? So, as of this moment, Morocco's just one game loss away from saying goodbye to this tournament. Meanwhile, if you are the US, you are one win away from facing. By the way, we already have an update, because I was actually watching like some of the separate broadcasts as well, and it's the Philippines winning against Malaysia 2-1.
Up against the MSC champions. That's what's gonna happen if you lose here.
Yeah. Whether you're Morocco or the US, if you're the US, you're probably gonna try to force a rematch towards Malaysia and go with the drama server versus the easy server banter all over again. Or at this moment, if you are Morocco, you're probably tired of all of the shenanigans happening with that kind of storyline, and you want to showcase as the new kids on the block, then maybe it's your time to shine, right? Why not? You've had a really good early game from a while ago, and I felt like that was the best opportunity for them that they've had all tournament. Unfortunately, they were just unable to capitalize on it.
And they did have a great early game for the Moroccan squad there in game number one. Sadly, early game didn't last long. USA quick to pick up on that pace that Morocco wanted to keep, and they eventually just went in for big rotation, especially around that gold lane area in the early parts of the game. So gotta respect USA for that. They knew that they could capitalize on a different strategy instead, and they went for it quickly, and they went for it hard, because the Harith just played really nicely for the past for maybe the entire mid to the late game. He was untouchable even in the front lines.
And T was one of the newest additions to the squad, because most of the names that we've had from the US, right, are practically familiarity here for most of the players. Just in case you guys missed out on it, right? We're going to be showing the lineups of the respective squads. I want to know what you guys think about this. Morocco continuously representing their squad with Ayato, Super Rival, Kenji, Heisenberg, and Bad Combat. And that was Chris Combat a while ago, but you have Bad Combat there.
And this time, we will see USA once again rocking those beautiful jerseys. Best Player One, Fried Chicken, Hoon, T, and Shark. We talked about T last game. He was able to play quite well, especially with the rotations coming in for Team USA. But gotta say, if this is one of his first few international tournaments, the experience rather that he could get in this entire thing could potentially drive him to become a better player come their local professional league comes online once again. So feel like for USA, this is just a wealth of experience. They are one of those regions that is in the brink of being one of the better or best regions out there of MLBB.
Yeah.
They're right in that middle to the top part, I would say. Like, they're one big win away from telling people, like,
Yeah.
hey, MLBB is big here. You know, MLBB is good. We know how to play good.
Yeah, honestly, that goes for both of the teams, right? Just imagine if Morocco all of a sudden does the reverse sweep against the U.S., who have been participating in a lot of the international tournaments so far. That would really put a huge win, a huge statement for Morocco, most especially because we are even looking at the possibility of even spreading or widening the range of MLBB towards the European and African countries, or African countries, and I feel like this is a chance for them to be able to do so. The participation of you being part of IESF for the very first time. I know I've mentioned Bahrain. I know I've mentioned Guam from a while ago, and I feel like Morocco is no stranger to that as well. But as of this moment, when you're going up against the US, I feel like this is where most of the chances or the opportunities are really going to be important, because US, just like what I said a while ago, these are very familiar players who already have had international experience prior to this, so they know what they're going for. They know what they're talking about. So Morocco has got to have their hands full on this one, man.
And moving towards other teams, Hans, I just want to talk about something that we touched upon earlier.
Go ahead.
I know I was in disbelief when I saw KSA beating Indonesia 0-2, and I checked it and I confirmed it, and apparently it's true.
Yeah.
They
true,
got
man.
2-0. That is insane. I wish I was there. I wish I was able to. I don't even wish that I casted it. Not even as a. Just want to see that game. Like, I want to know how Saudi pulled that off, because if we look at the roster coming in from Saudi, they've had good international experience. They've always been there around, but they haven't really secured something that is more than top 4 or within top 3. They never secure that. But to 2-0 Indonesia, that is insane. That's already a big win, and that puts Indonesia in a tough spot. So right now KSA is making waves. Like, imagine doing that in your home court. Like, IESF is happening in Riyadh right now, and you do that in your home court. IESF beating one of the giants in MLBB. I wish I was there. I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, that was honestly just. I do think that I owe you one. I owe you one photograph, so I sent it to you. Just make sure to check it. It's about the statement of one player from Indonesia where they're not going to be losing a single match. And yeah,
well, it just happened.
That didn't go well, unfortunately. So I feel like back to the drawing board they go. Saudi Arabia is going to be one of the first few teams that we can determine is going to be making it into the next stage of the competition. But for the Philippines, they're also going to be sharing that as well. And whoever is going to be winning here in this first series will go up against Malaysia to determine who the second, player or country of Group B is going to make it into the playoffs. That is a lot to take, if you ask me.
All very interesting information as well. It's one of those things that makes you think what could happen in the future. Like when we look at these teams, we always speculate how far they would go. When you look at Indonesia, the first idea that you could had, within top 3, definitely. We have like an all-star lineup. You have like Kiboy, you have like Sands, you have these people that have competed in the world stage for the longest time, and then suddenly you look at the roster coming in from Saudi, and you're gonna look like, they have achieved, I think, more than the play-ins. They have played in the early parts of a lot of M series already, and you'd think that, they could possibly get top 6, or now I'm thinking they could possibly go top 3 or within top 3, after that big victory. So I'm honestly not expecting anything anymore. If that could happen, Morocco could potentially take this to game 3. You know, that was a long time, around 5 to 10 minutes of preparing, analyzing what happened, and now it's back to execution.
Yeah, I feel like for this respective team from Morocco, maybe they could learn a thing or two from Saudi Arabia, right? How were the underdogs able to cater towards the titans, the giants of MLBB known as Indonesia, or one of them, I suppose? But as of this moment, those questions are probably going to be answered right here, right now, as we go to game number 2. Both of the teams have switched sides, apparently. Fanny and Gatot Kacha still going to be the bans here for Morocco. Or actually, that Gatot Kacha is pretty new since, Shark has been given a lot of problems when he tends to really use that hero. On the other side, you have the Juicin, and in addition, you have the Suyu as well. So USA's definitely not allowing any of what happened in game 1 to happen in this game number 2.
Yeah, the Zushin and the Suyu, one of the newest additions in the Land of Dawn, both of them really strong in their respective roles. The Zushin did take a slight hit when they did change a bit of their damage and mana usage, but what's great about the Zushin right now is that without hitting other heroes, you could just land your lantern on anyone and deal free damage. But the moment it lands on heroes, it's going to be draining a bit of mana, which means that you could check bushes with it. The moment that your mana gets drained, that means there's a person in the bush, and that's what's beautiful about that. And with that, another ban coming in from USA, taking away the Phobius, one of the best picks in XP lane right now, but truly not the best, because if I were to talk about the best XP laners, you could put in Hilda, Khalid, and Gatot Kacha, and we did talk about Hilda quite recently. Looks like it's going to be locked in for USA.
Yeah, Morocco had the idea at some point in time that the alpha is going to be available towards them. You rarely ever see Matilda get first picked in other different regions, right? We usually get to see it in the Philippines, but Morocco is trying to adapt that certain system of play style as well for them to practically dominate the early game just because they have the Matilda on their side. We've seen it work in game number 1 where they turned the tides around in like the first 2 minutes of gameplay, but USA has that different mixture with the alpha practically joining the fray now, so they're gonna have to rethink their strategy moving forward.
I'm not gonna say that this could be a good assassin game for the side of Morocco. This could be the perfect game that you could go back to the former tank or fighter jungle meta, because you're up against an Hilda anyway. Like, you wouldn't be able to survive that. If you pick a Ling, you pick a Hayabusa, that's technically writing that, hey, I will die to this Hilda. Might as well just go for the fighters or go for the tanks. I think a Fredrin, maybe a Barat could be good here. Even if you have that Eve, they could potentially just have that Matilda save themselves as well inside that team fight.
Yeah, Fredrin might be ideal here.
It's either they know what's up.
Morocco
USA knows what's up.
Yeah, they just know what's up. USA having the same idea as to what could be a potential counter towards that alpha for it to continuously wreak havoc towards Morocco. Meanwhile, on the other side, Morocco is going to be banning that turret, and I feel like for both of the teams, they are still missing that gold lane option. And as of this moment, Morocco and USA both need heroes in the gold lane that really deal a ton of damage per second, because I feel like that is what they're missing as of the moment. Just a lot of true damage maybe on the side of USA just because they have the alpha, but the sustain for Morocco is not going to be enough if you don't have damage to back it up.
A lot of options still if you're looking for damage, but I feel like the best one so far for USA would be the Beatrix. If you pair that Eve with a Beatrix, that's a lot of AoE control as well. And they're going to take away the Moskov instead. A lot of options still available for Morocco, but looks like they're going to lock in the Beatrix for the side of USA. And now for the side of Morocco, they could potentially go in for... Oh, wait a minute. What is this?
Is this CC gold lane, my guy?
I think it's going to be a CC gold lane. Yes, I do think it's going to be a CC gold lane. Fight fire with fire, I guess. Like,
Oh,
At
wow.
least you have that vengeance to save yourself from the Nibiru. But other than that, um, quite the daring composition coming in from Morocco. This is what we want. We asked for this. Like, let's be honest. We asked for something different, and now Morocco is delivering. Thank you so much, Morocco.
Maybe like the thought process coming in from Morocco is that they want to have a counter towards the. I feel like since they have the Hylos on their side, they wanted to deny USA of utilizing that CC because it is a really good counter towards that Hylos. But this is a pretty risky move, and you were thought about this before the start of the second game, right? If there is a means of experimentation where you're gonna have to kind of strike a balance between doing it and not doing it, this might be the prime opportunity for you to do so. Tournament life on the line, you know what's at stake. Maybe use something that a lot of these teams who are so used to international tournaments are practically not aware of. And I feel like as of this moment, CC is going to be the best bet of Morocco to extend this into a 3-game series. We're about to find that out in whether or not we will go to a game number 3 or will USA continue to proceed to face off against a rematch against Malaysia for that final spot in Group B. This time around, just like what we expected, it is Ayato that's going to be utilizing that CC to go to the gold lane.
Yeah. Exciting. Let's see if the yo-yo is enough to yo-yo them back in this entire series. But I love this Ruby pick, by the way. That Ruby last pick coming in from USA just counters a lot of the melee-centric stuff that Morocco wants to do and keeps them in check inside the real-world manipulation. And immediately, Kenji, in a 3v1 scenario, has the flicker if ever he does want to escape, uses it immediately. Shark, great initiation out there.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, for Morocco, there's been some sort of changes as to how they would be approaching this game. Because as of this moment, you finally have two heroes that could really deal a ton of pressure on towards the United States in the early portions of the game. You have the Matilda, and you also have the Hylos on your side. So engage initiation is indeed not going to be a problem. The only concern that I have here is how a rival can face himself, especially when he goes up against the Alpha. You mentioned this a while ago, that this could practically not be a really good assassin game. And I feel like as of this moment, compared to game number 1, Super Rival's having a hard time.
Yeah, and then this is just the United States, a 3-man rotation, a literal goon squad looking for the jungler of Morocco. Just 3 people with the Hilda, the Ruby. You don't want to fight that, especially if one of them is level 4. And best player 1 on this game right now, this Alpha, already has the damage to just burst you down. So this might just be a free turtle. I don't see Morocco risking it so much, and that's gonna be first turtle of the game. And another engage as well. That's gonna be the +1. First blood goes to United States. Make that 2 kills. They're looking for Kenji as well. Shark might just go for that ulti, but doesn't pull the trigger. That's 2 kills and the turtle.
Yeah, this is the difference now for the United States of America. We've seen them kind of like be more assertive as to what they would want to do compared to game number 1, where they were practically hesitant on how they would approach the turtle fights. This time we saw Shark just going at it whenever possible, and there it goes again.
Yup, a blue fight in the purple buff. Best player 1 misses the Spear of Alpha. Big Terrify coming in from Heisenberg, but doesn't really give the purple buff to Morocco. United States keeping up the pressure. They're not even laning anymore, man. They're looking for kills again and again. They know that they have the power spike, and they're forcing it again and again. And now Ayato looks to it to be the next victim, and he's going to be able to walk away. This CC will have the sustain, but the question is, will he be able to stay in lane?
It's just too squishy, man. I thought at this point in time is just too squishy. I mean, yeah, it's understandable that Ayato is sharing at least a level 5 in terms of damage output with, T, but T has been taking really good care of himself, or should I say he's really been taken care of by the rest of the members of the United States, just because everybody else is not shy in utilizing those skills and ultimates to make sure that the pressure is going to be felt towards the rest of the members of Morocco. Look at them. There they go again, and here goes Chris Combat. I feel like he's going to go down once more.
Chris Combat uses that glorious pathway and the revitalize, lands on one, the Turtle Guard, best player one, still alive, half HP, sustaining on the heals, and looks like he's gonna get that orange buff as well. This is like the fourth buff that is stolen away from this Nolan, and I do think that he wasn't able to secure that purple buff, or maybe he was able to steal that away, but they were gonna look at their hit. Look at their hero portraits later on to see whether or not it was stolen away, but looks like he will be able to get his purple buff.
Yeah, that was just unfortunate from the side of Morocco. We've seen the Vexana a while ago utilize or use the entire thing, and look at that. That's quite unfortunate. It's just a good thing though that the retribution has been utilized by Super Rival to get his buff, but in exchange of a turtle and the kill going towards the US.
So much happening for United States right now. They're taking in turret plating, they're taking in the turtles, they're also getting kills after those objectives. I think Morocco is just lacking the ability to clean up after the responses that they make. United States has been pulling them again and again with those objectives, only to catch them off guard, out of position right after they get that objective.
Oh, just look at this. Here's going to be another one of those circling eagle attempts as well, and that is not going to go well. Good thing the flicker is going to be there just to save Genji from distress, but you know that the United States are looking forward to this. Here it goes again.
Oh my Spear of Alpha dealing like 3/4 of HP of Morocco out there. Heisenberg almost dying. Thankfully, he did have the Mathilda saving himself, but United States, they're definitely just pushing the pressure again and again. It's already 6 minutes in. Looking at the itemization of everyone, Morocco is yet to secure their second item. They're still on their first items in United States, already about to build their third ones. And this is just a clear indicator of how ahead United States is right now.
And the catalyst towards that has been the US getting most of those objectives. Look at this, Fight Chicken getting into the bush at the right amount of time, using that extra shield as well. My goodness, outplayed is an understatement. United States just really toying around Morocco as of this moment. What an unfortunate series of events for Ayato in Morocco.
Oh, that could have been a kill for Morocco. That could have been the kill for Ayato, but sadly, the passive shield coming in from the Hilda, coming in clutch for that final few hits of the yo-yo. And now for United States, 2 battles and 2 fronts, and that Super Rival going down. Here comes the ultimate coming in from Mathilda, but it is a 3v3. They find Kenji instead, and that's going to be a kill once again for USA. 2 people go down for the side of Morocco. Still a perfect game for the boys of NA.
Again, right from the start, the United States have been taking most of the buffs that would go onto the side of Morocco, and because of that, they were unable to invest in the damage output just because the resources are missing. Most of the buffs have been taken by the United States, which disabled them to actually set up more of those team fights and for United States to be more assertive towards making their decisions in the early game. And because of that, we have established towards a 7k gold lead, and not only that, even with the 1v1 team fight, US wins.
Yeah, 1v1 between the junglers. Super Rival goes down once again. This is the second solo kill that we've seen in this entire series, and best player one definitely showing everyone that he just isn't an assassin one trick, but could also play the alpha. Now in the mid lane, the Beatrix dealing a lot of damage, able to dash out before he gets stunned up. United States not stopping, just continuing to push again and again.
This starts to become a problem for Morocco now, right? Because compared to what you've seen from before, you don't have any sort of wave clear as of this moment, rather than just Heisenberg using the Vexana. CC by Ayato is really going to be good for at least the single turret damage output or the single hero damage output, but in terms of like the wave clear, it's not the best scenario for you. Yes, you do have the speed, but how long can you run from the damage output of the United States?
And the thing is, they have been running. Morocco's been trying to run away from United States again and again just to extend this game. But for the side of USA, they've been going up front again and again. They've been using the Spear of Alpha, every time that it's up, every time Shark has the flicker, he's just up in front, up in the faces of Morocco, looking for that I'm offended. Now he's gonna check the bush here. He's gonna find one. He's probably gonna ulti, but looks like he doesn't pull the trigger for as of now.
Yeah, this is starting to be a really dominating game that arrived in faster motion compared to what we've seen in game number 1. 10K almost by the United States, and they are not very shy upon getting those objectives for themselves. And here they go again. It's best player to one, getting another one of those objectives once more without ever utilizing or using that retribution take of his. So now they are freely looking around this one, doing it in quick fashion. The US are going to be getting that first lord, the first major objective in 10 minutes of gameplay almost in Morocco. They're trying to force ways into the map by just going to the top side, but you know, they have more problems to work with around the base.
Well, at least they traded the Lord for something. They got a turret in the top side, but now they're gonna have to defend against this Lord. No kills on the board just yet for Morocco. In United States, they have all of the battle spells that they need to start a fight. One big flicker play could be the start of it. Real world manipulation already used as well. The Lord is still pushing down the mid lane. The inhibitor turret still up. Super rifle in the back. Spear of Alpha doesn't really land, but that's already one inhibitor down. And looks like the Hylos will be falling as well.
Yeah, the Hylos is now down. Chris Combat's gonna have at least 20 seconds to be able to stay alive, but there it goes again. There's Heisenberg landing on towards the rest of the members in, but there goes Shark with a I'm offended combo. 4 heroes are down, Super Rival left, and it seems like the country, the team that's gonna be moving forward is none other than the United States of America. The underdogs are not gonna be winning in this one. It's the team that you expected to take the victory are the ones who's going to claim their right for a rematch against Malaysia.
A quick 2-0. Morocco had it coming, but they did try their best, and hopefully everything that they've experienced here in IESF helps them to become a better team, or maybe share that knowledge with the rest of the Moroccan teams out there. But for USA, the journey continues. The rematch is bound to happen. The drama versus the easy server is going to happen, and surely the community is just happy to see that rematch. And overall, I just have to go back to that one big play or one big call coming in from the side of USA in that game number 2. Stay aggressive. The moment that you have that level 4 on this alpha, you just stay with them, try to find fights again and again, because there's really not a lot of junglers right now in the current meta that could fight against an alpha in a 2v2 setup.
Yeah, the one hero that could really fight well against the alpha has been banned in game number 2, so you know, US pretty much very much aware of that situation, and I feel like that is something that the US has used to get the victory towards Morocco. And unfortunately, Morocco hasn't even scored in terms of the kill score. They were trying to look for, you know, some sort of kills here. Even Ayato had his eyes set on Fried Chicken upon almost taking that hill down. Unfortunately, those passives came around just in time, especially with him hiding on the bush, regenerating his HP bar, and all of a sudden, it's Morocco left into the dust.
Yeah, and then moving forward in this tournament, USA, they still have a lot of games to play, and for Morocco, they could just enjoy, absorb everything that's happening in Riyadh, because that's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, I would say. Like, being able to see all of these talented players, being able to be one of them as well, being able to see around the venue is definitely something that they could enjoy, because surely, with the IESF happening in Riyadh right now, it's not just MLBB. It's going to be a lot of games out there. It's going to be a lot of other people out there. You might even meet your idols from other titles as well. So it's going to be a real experience out there for Morocco, and hopefully they do enjoy that journey. But for USA, the tournament continues, and it's going to be a hard one once again. Malaysia's already beaten them 2-0, but now they have the chance to go back and try to get the score into an even 2-2.
Yeah, and I feel like for both of these teams, this match has a bigger set of bearings compared to their first meeting, right? Because both of them have already experienced losses. Both of them knows what it takes to be able to win also, with USA winning against Morocco and Malaysia winning against USA. The question is, how will the story unfold for both of these teams? Because these are countries that you would at least expect, right, to make it into the playoff rounds of the competition. But apparently they're going neck and neck, and whoever gets to win will be the only one who can make it into the playoffs. And man, that is the group of death for a reason. It's just a good thing that the Philippines made it out alive completely. They may be unscathed with one game, but it's one game. It's not one series loss, right? So they'll take it.
Well, at least at least for the side of Philippines, they didn't really get like a big upset. It was a 1-1 against Malaysia, but this time for Indonesia, they have a lot of doubters to silence. Their upcoming series is going to be really, really important for their country.
Yeah, they're going to be going up against Egypt or Guam, right? Which is actually currently happening as of the moment. You see the moving text at the bottom of your screen. It's Egypt currently 1-0 over Guam. So Guam really needs to step up their game. We've seen how they were yesterday with the only series that we've had commentary so far, and I feel like there's really a lot of cleaning to do in terms of like the way they executed, and it's gonna be difficult to do a lot of those adjustments early, most especially because of how tight the schedule is for IESF, right? You're gonna have to get something quick as soon as possible.
And not just quick, it has to be effective too. For Indonesia, thankfully for them, they have seen the games coming in for the potential enemies that they might have for the next series. But for the upcoming match, I would say whoever fights Indonesia, they're in for a ride. Like, I still have high respects for Indonesia. I do feel like that after a loss like that, gotta wake up. You gotta see what's up in what happened in that game, and maybe just show everyone that you're still very much disciplined for the next few matches that you might be able to play. Because right now it's still not safe. There's still no security. If you lose that next series, then that's going to be the end of it for IESF. And what a shock, it's just day 2. And we're already seeing things like this. And I'm very happy for KSA, by the way. Like, I'm very happy for Saudi Arabia finally having that one big win that they've been looking for the longest time. I feel like this is also the first time that they have swept a team like Indonesia.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, right? They are one of the teams that have always had lackluster performances during the previous international tournaments that we've had. But for them to get into the playoff position is really going to matter here, which is the reason why Indonesia is going to be going up against the winner of Egypt versus Guam. We're about to find out who's going to be Indonesia's rival when we return here at IESF World Esports Championship 2024. Back into the action we go. You are still watching day number two of, or should I say night number two? Nah, it's day number two of the IESF World Esports Championship 2024. This is going to be the second series of tonight's broadcast. We're going to be featuring Egypt to go up against Indonesia to determine who stays and who goes in the tournament in terms of like the group stage. My name is Hans Galeria, and together with me is Womi, and just like what we mentioned a while ago, from the first series, we've seen the United States of America claim victorious over what seemed to be a possible dark horse underdog storyline. And I feel like for Egypt, they're the ones in the chopping block right now because Indonesia needs to find a way to get this victory for them to continue in the tournament.
Yeah, and after that one big shocking series between Saudi Arabia and Indonesia, that sweep coming in from Saudi Arabia, Indonesia finds themselves in a spot that they didn't expect to be in. And up against Egypt, that's another team around the region of Saudi Arabia. They might have learned something from that KSA matchup that might give them that competitive edge against Egypt right now. But still, we don't know what could happen in this entire series, and tournament life is on the line for Indonesia. I know Albert has said a lot of things in the internet, but none of those matter right now. He will be trying his best to bring back Indonesia to life.
I mean, we're gonna have to see on how different the play style is of Indonesia in terms of their approach from Saudi Arabia. Because again, from what we've seen from before, this Indonesian squad has had experience, being an understatement. We're going to be taking a look at some of the players that are going to be filling up as of the moment. Pretty familiar faces to be specific. And now it's still going to be Luke with, the Fnatic Onyx roster from Indonesia.
Yeah, and this is one of those teams that we know that could achieve so much. In the last or most recent M Series World Championship, they went all the way to Game 7 of the Grand Finals. Yes, they did have a different jungler and an XP laner, but 3 of these players have already experienced that type of international play. And IESF is no different. It's one of those world tournaments that you want to be able to bring veterans like these 3 in as well. So up against Egypt, it's going to be really, I would say, the gap between their tournament experience would really have to show, because these people are very, I would say, familiar faces as well that we've seen so far in the M Series and in the international stage.
I agree. Like familiar faces such as Alpho, Maro, and Speedy are the players that I feel like I have witnessed whenever I watch like a lot of World Championship games back then. But I feel like Joki is one of those players that I haven't really seen or I haven't really heard in terms of like play style. So I wonder, going up against this team, Egypt going up against Indonesia, I assume that maybe there's a chance that some of these players have already matched up before and they know what it takes to be able to win in this respective series. They know that in terms of other international tournaments as well, it would really matter as to how they will be able to find something. You are currently finding that redeem code that is currently on your screens right now. So go ahead, take a look, probably type it already. I know most of you guys are probably prepared with their phones right now, so you can go and claim it, because as of the moment while we speak, it's finally gone now. So it's going to be taken away as well by us. So yeah, just like that, it's finally gone. But again, just like what I was saying a while ago, these are familiar faces from each respective countries. Indonesia kind of like being a little bit more popular, but it's going to be up to Egypt to pull the same kind of strategy and upset that Saudi Arabia did going up against Indonesia in that first match.
Let's see if the Saudi Arabian magic is still up in Riyadh. All of these players about to compete as well. 10 seconds before the draft starts. Egypt really has to pull one off against Indonesia. If they give game one to this Indonesian squad, we've seen how momentum could carry this squad. We've seen them crush their first enemies in the group stage, and that was day one yesterday. They just, I think, ended that series with 2 games less than 12 minutes. So now that we are in the draft, gotta say, it's looking quite standard. Taking away the chip, taking away the Zhu Shen and the rest, these are picks that we know that you cannot give away for free.
Yeah, so as of this moment, if you are Egypt, you do have the Soyu and the Alpha still available. I feel like you're gonna have to do a throw ban here if you're Egypt. So at least you have some sort of option in terms of like that Chungo position. I mean, you still have other heroes that you could potentially ban here. And yeah, that's exactly what they're gonna do. They take the Eve out, but they leave the Hilda. They leave a lot of options here for Luke to utilize if they want to get the victory. And the Hilda is gonna be the obvious first choice because you have options for the junglers anyway.
Yeah, the Gatot Gacha open to match that Hilda in case they do want that. The Khalid as well. So the Hilda in the XP lane, this is pretty much locked in already. We haven't seen a lot of roam Hilda so far, but yes, that is still available. But in terms of XP lanes right now, Hilda is within top 5. So I would say that it's almost already sure that it will go to the hands of Luke. And for Egypt, I would really suggest getting Gatot Kacha early. You don't want to give that, or even a high loss, something that could match that type of intensity in the front line coming in from Hilda. And they do pick up the Suyu. The Alpha is still available, but looks like they're not going to take any of the tanky options. They're going to go immediately for the Aurora. And now for the side of Indonesia, they could choose whatever they want. The High Loss is still open. The Gatot Kacha is still open. And both of them really good in the roam role too.
Yeah, we've seen some of those combinations being played in like the past 2 days, or maybe in that previous series as well. You have the Hilda and the Gatot Kacha that really posed a lot of problems, specifically for Morocco when US started to use it. So it really is going to be important and crucial for Indonesia to just select those heroes as expected. We could see an Alpha here being played. As of this moment, the Gatot Kacha apparently is not being minded by both of the teams. They're going for the Luyi and the Alpha to mix it up.
Interesting as well. They take the Arlot instead. These people are playing at their own field, and I would say for Indonesia, this is very much a good response. You have a mid-range mage that deals crowd control and damage. You match it up with a Lu Yi, you have more edge in terms of macro plays because of diversion. And with this Alpha pick, it's one of those standard picks that you always pick up against a Suyu. Whenever you see a Suyu first pick, there's always an answer. And most of the time, or 90% of the time, if Alpha's open, that's going to be the lock-in. And as we enter the second banning phase, looks like they're going to take away the Cho. One of those options that could definitely put the Suyu in danger. But I guess this is more so targeted. Like, we're talking about Kiboy here. We know that Kiboy loves to play around this Cho.
Yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if Khalid is also taken out of the equation here for Egypt. We know that, Kiboy and even Luke can utilize it, but for most of the time that we see the Hilda being played, it's mostly in the EXP lane. So I feel like that is where the Hilda is going to be staying. And Egypt also thinks of the same thing as well, thus banning out the Tigreal. So this gives Egypt kind of like a bit more room to find a counter towards the roam of Indonesia. But you're also going to have to mind that Egypt also doesn't have a roamer of their own as we speak. So the Cho and Tigreal, as much as those are heroes that could be very well used by Kiboy, they're not letting it go. And there goes the Gatot Kacha finally taken out before it gets picked.
Something tells me that this Arlot could be a flex pick as well. This might be a roam Arlot. We haven't seen that for the longest time, but still a very effective choice if you're able to play it well. The XP lane matchup between this Arlot and the Hilda is not looking great for the Arlot so far. Nobody could really mess up the Hilda level 1. This Arlot's gonna have to buy this time if ever it's gonna go to the XP lane. And with this Nathan pickup coming in from Egypt, I think for the side of Indonesia, they're gonna match that up with with a 1-1. So this is quite the peculiar matchup because in terms of range, 1-1's going to have a bad time against this Nathan, but the moment come level 4, it's going to be a significantly better laning phase for the side of this 1-1. And with this Akai pick, both of them are still pretty much flex picks. We gotta wait for the loading screen to see whether or not it's gonna be XP Akai or Roam Akai, and then the same could be said for the Arlong.
That was actually, quick pressing immediately by the side of Egypt, just going for it whenever they have a chance to. They seem so sure with the Akai pickup here going on to the side of Egypt, and also taking note of the early game pressure that will be arriving from Indonesia. I know that Nathan could be one of the most annoying gold laners come the late game, right? But in terms of like the early game, you have the Luyi, you have the Hilda, you even have at least the Alpha as well to take control of the early game output in terms of damage, which is the reason, or which is going to be one of their concerns, right? If they want to hopefully extend this game to maybe around 15 minutes or more, just so Speedy would be able to back up his damage output with more of those items. And you're right, CW could probably have a bit of a hard time into trying to scale very fast, but if they get a kill this quickly, if they apply pressure in certain parts of the map, that's not where CW is, and maybe they can do something about it.
Crucial error as well coming in from Joki, pressing that regen quite quickly, so he couldn't really survive for long here in the mid lane. A lot of pressure coming in from Indonesia at the get-go. Luke might just fall down though. He will be able to heal up for just a bit, gets Maro before falling down to Kenji, and now Sans has to flicker away to 1-for-1, but first blood goes to Indonesia.
Yup, and that is Luke getting a kill, but also Kenji. So I feel like this is very much ideal as well for Egypt, because your jungler gets the kill, and Kenji can apply a huge amount of damage output. That is not the most ideal option if you are Egypt. A 1-for-1 or a 1v1 kill gets or taken by CW, and it is up against Speedy as well, so he's going to be held back just a bit more in terms of that gold output.
That's true, and I gotta say, when you're playing gold lane, that's one of the worst things that you could do, dying in a 1v1 setup. But this is a 2v2, and Maro might just bite the dust, but the regen comes in quickly. Indonesia just having fun in the early game so far, dealing a lot of damage, making sure that they're using this Hilda and Alpha towards their full potential.
That was the question that we've had in mind heading forward into this second series. What kind of Indonesian team are we going to be seeing in this one? Is it the one that we saw back when they went up against Saudi Arabia, or is this a completely refined, completely evolved form of Indonesia? And so far I feel like we're seeing the latter, just because of them asserting their dominance in 1v1 play, something that we kind of like expected for them to do, but they haven't really showcased that when they went up against Saudi Arabia. But even so, they're just overwhelming them in terms of numbers. But even in the midst of that, Egypt unable to get a kill for themselves.
And I think they do have an idea, but that's not going to be enough to survive that. That's 2 quick kills going to the hands of Team Indonesia, and there will be no trade-off coming in from Egypt. Just an onslaught of early game coming in from the Indonesian squad.
Just good heads of play here coming in from the side of Sans, knowing that there was not a lot of information being given to Egypt. Meanwhile, it's going to be Speedy once again. He's going to be held back once more. Kiboy lands on that heal. Kenji is out here looking for blood. Kiboy is going to go down, but CW already having a grasp of that gold or energy shields. Meanwhile, Maro's also going to go down in the process. Man, this is a huge amount of bloodbath that is being displayed by Indonesia. 6 kills in just 3 minutes of gameplay.
And this is what you get when you have a Luyi, a Hilda, an Alpha, and to add that off, a Khalid as well. 4 of the heroes coming in from Indonesia are just really strong in the early game, and they know how to use this. Indonesia capitalizing on the power spike of their heroes, and CW having the time of his life farming, and even getting a solo kill against Speedy is not helping Egypt at all. Looking at the gold score and the kill score, things are getting out of hand, and they're starting to look bad for Egypt.
Yeah, not the most ideal situation here for Egypt. Speedy already in two deaths. Yes, he has an assist to just, be able to add a little bit of like consolation prize in terms of the gold value, but Indonesia is already at their full-on confidence as to how they would want to approach this game. They are starting to group together. Usually that's not the most ideal scenario, but because they are already establishing a 4K gold lead, they're not very shy to do that.
Oh no, and another kill might just go to the hands of Indonesia, but Egypt takes one for themselves. Luke might be in trouble too. Half HP, their Vitalize is there, but nice final slash there coming in from the R-Lot, and looks like the Hilda's finally gonna go down after a lot of damage. That's 2 kills going to the hands of Egypt. What a great play.
Look at the transition as well from Egypt. They immediately went on to the bot lane. They really didn't want to push onto that mid side, onto that mid lane immediately. They wanted to translate it into an objective.
Albert, low HP. Maro's still alive. Sans looking for another one though, but Speedy is able to walk away unscathed. And the 1-1 Ghost in the Skies get this kill on the Aurora. It looks like Indonesia, they will be winning that trade. And fortunately for Egypt, they're going to be able to survive with a sliver of health.
They're really going to have to be careful at this point in time. Maro just minding his own business, and then all of a sudden, there is CW and Sans hiding on that right side of the bot lane, and the push was just enough at the right space for Sans to use a diversion play, bring CW around, and mind you, CW is already at 4-0-0. We kind of like thought that CW is gonna have his own set of problems just being there in the laning phase, but 6 minutes in, he's doing so much better than Speedy at this point.
And now for Egypt, the winner's crown suddenly has a tremendous value. You don't want to have any of those crossbow of tanks. And nice, a kill coming in from Egypt. Maro might go down as well. It's a 1-for-1, and that trade-off is looking quite healthy as Luke is able to give vision coming in from Indonesia. Kiboy, the only one to go down, and another one in the bottom lane for Indonesia. Egypt is looking to lose every trade for the past 3 team fights that we've seen.
Yeah, just not the best set of decisions. A series of unfortunate events here for the side of Egypt, because again, most of the skills that they were throwing hasn't really found a good amount of synergy, because as of this moment, you see Alpha at least building up that Guardian's helmet, so that's the most ideal, and they would also get to trade a turret down bottom for their turret up top. Unfortunately, Kiboy has been that person who would always take the brunt of the damage. That time he was able to escape, and Joki not in the best position, using the flicker to be able to get away, but he is completely surrounded by most of the members in it. That means that it is not only 1 but 2. Here's more.
What a great play coming in from Alpha, getting Chewe down, and now Kiboy and the rest of the squad grinding Maro, but a final slash buys a bit of time. Alpha will be trying to get away, and still that is a 4-for-1. Chewe goes down 4-4 in Egypt. Another losing trade, sadly.
Yeah, they had an idea of like trying to lure them inside that mid lane, the mid lane in between turrets, but apparently Indonesia has encountered too many of that, and at this point they're probably used to like a strategy such as that one to be able to be executed onto perfection. So Indonesia, not only were they able to take a lot of lives from Egypt, but they were also able to take the purple objective and position themselves better in this very first lord of this game, as the Hilda is already in unfamiliar territory, or in like opposing waters, and he's targeting Alpha this time.
Yeah, and Sans has to flicker away. Speedy in the midst of the battle. Frigid Glazer doesn't really land on anyone, but the 1-1 goes to the skies. Might just get Maro as well. They're gonna go for the crossbow of Tang no more because it will be a double kill for CW and the Lord as well for Indonesia. A couple of great plays, a couple of great kills, and the momentum is felt for the Indonesian squad.
Not the best decision there from Egypt. No vision whatsoever in terms of that river bush, and they just decided to go and break loose. You know, they had an idea, but it was just a horrible miss there from the Egyptian side because they had at least means for them to be able to check where the rest of Indonesia could potentially be coming from, and in that moment they were unable to do that. Now they're gonna have to worry about a Lord marching on the bot side and a Nathan of Speedy that hasn't even gotten his third item yet.
Diversion on the back sends Kiboy, but looks like it's gonna be too much for Egypt. No, it's gonna be too much for Indonesia instead. That's 2 kills going down for Egypt, and Alpho gonna be able to go back to the base. Albert might just be in trouble here, but Maro is able to dash back to the Lord. What a great play coming in from Egypt. The response to that diversion, what a quick reaction coming in from Alpho.
Yeah, that they're allocating the balance of who takes the damage output first. It was a very risky move to put Speedy in quite a very difficult position, but even so, he was able to stay alive. So that is going to be a certain scenario that maybe Egypt could capitalize on whether or not they would extend the duration of this game to even more minutes. And Indonesia's been doing so well.
Whoa!
They currently have an 8K goal lead, and just like that,
the invisible diversion play once again, but the final slash lands onto Albert. Might be in trouble here, but Genji defending their base. Maro goes to the sky. CW, no more crossbow of Tang available. That's 2 people immediately down for Egypt as they take down Luke as well. It becomes a 2-for-2, and things are looking great for Egypt. A 10k gold lead cut into 7.5. That's some progress.
yeah, this is starting to give Egypt a little glimmer of hope just because of how they have been performing in this very first game. You know, you're currently seeing Maro having not the best of records in 179, but Genji has been doing a really good job trying to secure most of his objectives, and that would not have been possible without Speedy and Alpha just taking care of most of the stuff, where as Indonesia, on the other hand, you have pretty at least Sans, who has been taking well care of himself, even though he's the one who would always make those risky plays. So something has to give here. Can Egypt play defense up until Indonesia gets tired, or will Indonesia finally finish it once and for all?
Let's see, because this Lord is going to be very important for Indonesia. They've been struggling to get those inhibitor turrets, but Luke is just providing so much vision. It's going to be a free Luminous Lord for the squad of Indonesia, and another big defense upcoming for Egypt. Diversion up there, heavy spin burnt as well, and they're going to be able to defend for now, but looks like they're going to have to reserve all of those battle spells for the upcoming defense inside the base.
Lord is about to spawn in just a few seconds from now, and from everything that I have witnessed here, most especially from Indonesia, this is the kind of gameplay that most of their Indonesian counterparts are really looking forward to do, because for the longest time, right, Indonesia has been capitalizing more on the micro other than the macro, but Egypt is also a region that's trying to learn more about that kind of concept. But as of this moment, already a single inhibitor finally down. They're looking forward to extending it even.
Speedy trying to get that Lord to melt down as fast as possible. 1 inhibitor turret left here for the side of Egypt, and looks like the final slash is not going to land on anyone. A heavy spin, though, will land on 1, trying to defend their entire base here. Nice Raging Sandstorm coming in from Kiboy. Takes down Maro, and Jockey looks to be next. But look at the damage coming in from Speedy. It might just...
oh my goodness.
Actually fake everyone out. And Egypt able to defend against Indonesia. What an insane play coming in from Speedy.
Man, just like when just when you thought that it's about to be over, this is one of the reasons why, Speedy, or should I say the Nathan, has always been part of most compositions for the side of for MLBB so far, and it's because of how well the wave clear potential coming in from that Nathan really poses a problem for most of the teams, and I feel like that is exactly what they're going to try to do now: invade more of the objectives that have been taken away from them, and with that, start off a potential comeback. And Womi, this is what you've been mentioning a while ago. Does Egypt have something in the tank to somewhat bring them right back into this game? Now from 7 to 8K, they're back to within 4K at least.
Yeah, this is already a manageable gold lead. This is not an impossible team fight to win now. And for Indonesia, they've tried several times with the diversion played. I think 2 to 3 times they tried to just ulti their way to finishing this game. But sadly, Egypt has been able to respond to all of them. And this might just be one of the most important objective, or most important team fight that they could play around. Kiboy cannot make a mistake here. He has to be able to find Speedy, because this Nathan is not running a Purify. One stun is all it takes for Egypt to crumble.
At this point in time, I feel like if you are Egypt, the idea is for you to take it slow, but apparently that's not going to be the case.
No way.
Because they want to go and take one down. Kiboy is at the middle, at the thick of it all. Kenji is going to be there trying to force the team fight in, but CW, the man at the moment, is going to be able to fly, landing on that crossbow of 10 towards the other members as well. But CW is going to be there together with Albert, 2 damage dealers from the side of Indonesia.
No way.
Will they be able to do it against 4 other members of Egypt? This is the idea that they have. The base is going to be there, Womi.
The 4v2, now a 3v2. One has to defend the base. It's up to Albert. He has to find this Lord. He has to be able to either clear out Egypt or file the retribution quite well on this Lord area. But looks like Alpha in a lot of trouble defending this one. It's still going to be close though. They do take down Maro, and looks like Speedy might be next. The diversion coming in from Indonesia comes in clutch, and they're going to be able to take down Joki as well. Kenji and Alpha left to defend against Indonesia, and Luke is already inside the base of Egypt. Heavy spin is going to be used, but to no avail, and this might just be the ending push coming in from Indonesia. Game 1 might just be going to Indonesia, but looks like Kenji, he's going to fall down, and they're going to go base lock. That's Indonesia taking game number 1.
Oh wow. I don't know about you, Omi, but I felt like Egypt had their hopes up during one of those moments where they brought 3 heroes down, but again, the experience that was played by CW and Albert, being at least not a very squishy hero in Suyu and a very squishy hero in 1-1, 2 against 4. They know that they have the macro ability, and this is the benefit of just, trying to push most of your lanes, especially the lane that's farthest away from that Lord fight, and they really benefited from that, getting this specific victory.
Man, this is the difference in the Liu Yi. The diversion just came in clutch for that Lord fight. Yes, they were able to get Maro in that 2v3 setup, but without that diversion, I feel like it could have ended something worse for Indonesia. And that was quite the close game. A 10k gold lead that almost turned out against Indonesia, and that's not looking great. Like, I know Indonesia still won in the end, but Egypt really put them into a tight corner with that Nathan. And moving forward to game number 2, surely Egypt has something else in the bag, and Indonesia, they're fighting for turn it live. You can say for Egypt as well, and both of them are playing really well in this game number 1.
Yeah, and I feel like for Egypt this time around, they can't be phased with what has happened in this specific game number 1, because again, that there were ample opportunities for them to actually get the victory, and you've seen them turn those team fights around, something that we don't necessarily see from Indonesia, right? Where they would naturally get the domination possible and land on towards those skills, land on towards those objective takes. But you're right, that they have to be a little cleaner in terms of execution to avoid most of the possibilities for Egypt to happen, because it's just like what we saw a while ago. They really are good at punishing in terms of like counter attack. The composition of this team that we had right over here, as we look at the statistics as of the moment, Speedy already having at least 6 kills and 6 assists already, an entirely full build for the guy, would have been a game changer had not there been a final team fight that was forced by Indonesia. Because again, they had the lead for momentarily of it, or for the majority of it, but Egypt tried to fight back. Although I feel like you're gonna have something else to say regarding the draft patterns of Egypt in this one.
Egypt definitely played well against Indonesia, but Sans definitely gave that competitive edge to Indonesia, willing them towards this victory. Not only did that diversion play around at that Lord area gave them that ensured team fight victory, but sure, there has been some diversion plays that didn't end well for the side of Egypt, but those were the correct calls, and those were the diversion plays that I would say like a 50-50. Sometimes you would win the team fight. If you won that team fight, then sure, you could end the game. If you lose that, then better luck next time. And sadly for the side of Indonesia, there were 2 better luck next times, and Speedy was able to build a bit of the items he needs, but eventually they did find that winning team fight, and that was all they needed for that entire game to be theirs. And that's why I do think Lu Yi, if your enemy knows how to play this well, just take it out. It's one of those picks that just breaks tempo so well in the current meta.
Yeah, we were talking about like during the start of the draft, we were kind of like surprised as to why the Gatot Kacha hasn't really been given attention by both of these teams. And in fact, as far as I can remember, the second pick of Indonesia was that Louis that went on to Sans, and we were thinking what the role of the Louis is going to be like in terms of like the composition that they've had, and it fits so well just because of how well the team gels in terms of the early game aggression, just because they have Hilda and also because they have the other things on their side. And you also have another redeem code as well for your convenience, where you can get a ton of prizes from MLBB as well, so make sure to claim it right away. Who knows what kind of price you have there in store for you. Maybe it's like a recall. I don't know. I'm getting your hopes up, just like what happened in game number 1. But right as of this moment, this is a chance for you guys to claim it, and I think someone already claimed it, so that's sad. But this series, I feel like, is still up for grabs for both of these teams. It's really going to be up to execution on how either Egypt is going to bounce back from this game, or Indonesia will be continuing to make it into the playoffs.
I feel like Indonesia was having fun in that game 1 as well. They were playing heroes that were brutally good in the early game, and they knew how to play the early game really well. So I feel like that's also lesson number 1 for Egypt rather. When you look at Indonesia and you know that they know how to play the early game so well, maybe lessen that, or maybe have a more specific approach that they almost had here in game number 1, where it was quite obvious that they wanted to extend the game, that they wanted to give Speedy the time to go online by late game. But sadly, that didn't translate in the laning phase, because number 1, Speedy got solo killed by CW. That's already huge.
Yeah.
That slowed down the ramp for Nathan by a lot of minutes. Then second is we didn't see a lot of rotations coming in from the side of Egypt that would eventually put the Nathan in a good advantage against his opponent, in which case this 1-1. So hopefully we see those systematic changes as we enter in game number 2. And if not, then we might just see Indonesia do the same thing again and get this series via sweep.
We've seen, how Indonesia has managed to at least abuse those mistakes that Egypt has been getting. And going back to what you were mentioning a while ago regarding the rotations, the Nathan, courtesy of Speedy, was getting some kills in like the later portions of the game. But just imagine if those kills arrived pretty early in the matchup, right? That is how CW was able to scale on his own, because at least 6 minutes of gameplay, he already has 4 kills. And at that moment, it's going to be so difficult to stop that 1-1 if you are Egypt, even though you have some of the tankiest, the beefiest heroes in your lineup. That's not going to be enough when the 1-1 finally goes and lands that crossbow of tank to its convenience.
And we did see a lot of crossbow of tanks in this game number 1. Sadly, we haven't seen him pass around that crossbow of tank, because if there's one thing that Egypt really did well in that team fight against Chewe powered 1-1, they were able to spread out evenly. Like, even if CW gets a kill out of the crossbow of tank, it wouldn't get passed around. And that's one of the worst nightmares if you're up against a good 1-1 player, because trust me when I say this, when we talk about 1-1, it's usually Kelra and CW, you know? Those are the two names that would pop up in your head when you say the word 1-1. But if actually Benny Cutie as well, honestly, those 3 people. So when we look at CW playing this 1-1, we know that he holds this certain level of mastery. And when the 1-1 flies, first thing that you gotta do is to make sure that, one, you either survive via Winter's Crown or just pure HP alone. Second is not have any teammates around you, because the worst thing that you could do is pass the sickness, you know? It's the same thing when you have like a cough. You wouldn't want a cough right in front of your dad, right? Like, you wouldn't want your parents to suffer the same fate as you.
I mean, as of this moment, I feel like CW just understands the hero so well, understands what he needs to do to be able to land the maximum amount of potential damage that the 1-1 could give. And you're right, possibly the top 3 1-1 players ever would be, Kelra, CW, and Benny QT in no particular order. So I feel like
no particular order. Just making sure.
No particular order. Just trying to stay safe here, because again, there's a lot of like random clippers everywhere that could, but again, it's all good. It's all chill. I hope they keep doing what they're doing, because it gives a lot of like energy and vibes that are needed by the people. But again, as I was saying, this is probably one of those clippable moments, whether on the good side or on the bad side, for Indonesia. If they get the win here, they get clipped to be good and heading into the playoffs. But if they lose 2 straight here, it's it's a clippable moment.
It's another chance.
But yeah, we're going to get
for Indonesia, it's another chance to redeem themselves. After that tough loss against Saudi Arabia, a lot of doubters spawned, a lot of bashers, if I'm being honest. Like, it's all around the internet right now. And there's nothing wrong about that. Like, they're not attacking the people in general. They're talking about what happened in the game. So that's good. But for Indonesia, they don't care about that. They just want to win this game so they could continue in this tournament. It doesn't matter what Albert said like a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago. What matters is that they stay alive. And by staying alive, they got to end Egypt now. Because Egypt, they're also fighting for the same things as Indonesia. And as we look at these bans, it's very much almost identical to what we've seen in game number 1, apart from the Cho being banned this early.
Yeah, it's as of this moment, we get to see some sort of like similarities in terms of like the bans. Indonesia is going to be at the position again on whether or not they would ban both the Alpha and the Suyu, and that's exactly what they're going to do. So Alpha is banned, Suyu is open, but I feel like Indonesia is planning some sort of idea here, and wow, for the first time, yeah. I'm speechless, bro. I haven't seen this in a while.
Is this legal? Actual question. Is this legal to lock in the Granger right now? Like,
yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think so. We haven't you gotta let that marinate for 2 weeks, brother. I wish I could see that Granger, but sadly, no. The chip locked in for the side of Egypt, and this is quite game breaking. We did see the Luo Yi coming in from Indonesia, almost the same type of concept where you could just bring so many people all around the map. And for Egypt this time around, they would need a lot of ways to pull the trigger. It cannot just be this chip. They would need another guy that could potentially start that fight, and that's not Joy. They take the Luo Yi too. Okay.
I like it. I like the pick here coming in from Egypt, because again, you have the choice. You have a hero that can easily escape the chase, which is the Hilda, and then you also have the Eve that you could probably go head to head with in terms of like damage output and just the poking capabilities. But that ship really is, the determining factor on how successful this Egyptian composition is going to be like for Egypt, because again, you're going to have to worry about other things. And I really do find that interesting that they picked the Harith in this kind of situation to go up against the Luo Yi, because like one dispersion connection combo is gonna react very well for Indonesia if they don't play their cards too bad. But if they play their cards in not the correct way possible, then Egypt has all of the potential counters to potentially bring them down.
I mean, they have the mobility. Sure, they do have that, and they have the damage as well, but a lot of their damage is magical so far. They would need a lot of AoE physical damage and somebody that can move around really well. So I understand this Moscow ban coming in from Indonesia. I would say taking out the Beatrix could be safe too. I'm quite sure that Egypt is not in any way would play a Lunox at this time. So this Harith is pretty much safe. If Egypt plays the Lunox, they gotta draft an XP lane that deals damage. That becomes a problem. So the Ruby is still available if you want to go full team fight. And honestly speaking, the Ruby is still a good pick for the side of Indonesia here. You give Ruby to Kiboy, and this lineup will be OG throwback of the MPL Season 8 trio, where we always see the Eve, Harith, plus the Ruby. So this is one of those classic throwbacks for Indonesia. I would say if you're Egypt, you kind of want to steal away the Arlot or the Ruby, and also make sure that you have access to some AoE marksman that deals physical damage. So would really recommend the Beatrix here.
Yeah, Beatrix is not going to be a scenario here possibly for Egypt, because Indonesia can use that hero very, very well. And not to mention, they also eliminated the Moscow because they don't want to have another global ult added into the composition of Egypt. You already have the Luo Yi, you already have the chip, so you don't need any other sort of teleportation device here coming from the other heroes as well. But the Khalid is going to be the final ban here for the side of Egypt. You have the Tide Drill as well, which honestly is not a bad pick if you ask me. If you find them somewhere, then maybe they could handle all of that in terms of the implosion, and they could land most of that in terms of like the composition when that portal starts to arrive to some of the members. But here is the dissector of that idea, the dissector of the concept that they would have. So I feel like this is a possible scenario that they would want to go for. Just take the Akai and eliminate the threat of the Tigreal immediately.
Yeah, and Akai definitely one of those picks that is very annoying if you're playing the Tigreal. It's so hard to get a great implosion whenever the heavy spin is available, and surely it's gonna be a lot of trouble as well for this Harith if there's no available Purify. And I guess this is the answer for the side of Egypt. A lot of AoE physical damage coming in from this Claude. You add as well the Akai counter pick to this Tigreal and the Harith. Things are looking great for Egypt so far. Wow. First time in MLBB history, last pick Suyu. Wow. But Albert landing on that Suyu pick, I would say that this caps off their draft quite nicely too. A good mix of physical and magical damage and a lot of crowd control if you ask me. So in terms of draft, I'm just excited how Egypt is going to play this, because that's a lot of mobility. But sure, you have the mobility, but you gotta know how to use that too.
Yeah, you're gonna have to know where you're going, right? What the next step is gonna be like for you and the rest of the members in. Because yes, you do have the chip, but what is gonna be Chip's main idea towards his approach in this game number two? Because again, it's the tournament life on the line for both of these teams. Win twice or Egypt wins twice, Indonesia's eliminated. Indonesia gets this game for only one time, then it's Egypt who's eliminated. The winner of this matchup will be facing, or should I say, will no longer be facing anyone because they will be able to make it all the way through into that playoff spot. And as we were saying a while ago, I feel like Indonesia's just back to regular programming. They would want to make sure that their presence is felt by Kenji.
Interesting decision here coming in from Egypt. They left the Joy alone, knowing that they're up against a Hilda. And I feel like this is going to be a game-breaking decision for them. That's going to delay the Joy for quite a while. Not only did Joki get that small purple thingy with the actual purple buff, which means that Kenji is just severely delayed compared to Albert, who's already in level 3, cleared 2 buffs already in Lethal Wanderer. And that's just because of one decision of leaving the Joy alone. Hopefully that's their first and only mistake in not taking care of their Joy, because that's where they're gonna get their mid-game damage.
As of the moment, they're trying to replicate the same thing again. This time in the orange buff, you see Luke cut down to at least a sliver of his health, but he has managed to stay alive. So, Egypt trying to pick up the pace immediately as to how they would want to approach this game, but Luke just being saved by those passives from the HP bar at the shields of the Hilda, just really paying dividends for him. But as of the moment, it's going to be CW taking a huge amount of damage, cutting his HP bar into half, but he still stays alive as we speak.
And this is good for Egypt. They're able to recover. Now it is an even level 4 battle for the retribution for the first turtle, but I feel like they're not really gonna go for it. The chip ultimate is available, but immediately Kenji goes down. Maro's not gonna call for backup anymore, but Alpha is already there. The heavy spin is available. They find Kiboy, and looks like Kiboy's gonna go down to the Lu Yi, and Luke will not be able to find a trade-off, but Alpha might just bite the dust here. That's 2 kills going to the hands of Indonesia, plus the turtle and Luke able to survive via that passive once again. What a calculated play coming in from this XP laner.
Really huge close calls from Indonesia, but they were still able to escape in the middle of misery here. Egypt, on the other hand, not so successful, with most of their 2 players as 2 have already gone down, and that right there is Alpho and Kenji. For Alpho, I feel like for most of the users of Akai in this specific tournament, they really have been utilizing it to just pin down the rest of the members in, but that was a good implosion play, and it might be too late for the rest of the members of Egypt to just assist them. Joki's already down.
And that's also a wasted shortcut if you're Maro. So that was a great play coming in from Kiboy. Yes, that burnt a flicker, but that was a flicker well burnt. And now Alpha gonna find Luke. Bit of trade-offs here for the XP laners, and Kiboy just giving out the vision for Indonesia. Looking at Jockey once again. Real World already set as well, and he's gonna go down. Jockey in his second death of this game number 2.
Yeah, this is just very difficult for Egypt as we speak. Just like what you've mentioned, right? They do have a lot of global skills, global ults. Just a good thing that at least they were able to take Luke down, finally getting him to commit his first death in this one. They have a chance to even grace the energy shields brought about by the turret, but apparently it's Sans and the rest of the members, and Albert, my goodness. He is not wasting any time whatsoever getting a kill towards Joki.
They're timing the flicker, they're timing the kills, and Maro looks to be going down as well. Shortcut used, but none respond. CW going in front of Speedy here, but look at the damage coming in from Albert. Alpha with a great heavy spin, but he has to go out. Kenji looking for that play. Electrifying beats on a 5, gets 1, but the Real World keeps him in. And Indonesia taking a lot of kills away from Egypt. in the lead at 3K.
Again, that's for the price of one. Indonesia, just knowing the concept of trades, they know when to strike at the fastest scenario possible. You see Egypt just, trying to take their time. They know that they don't have the damage output from the claw just yet, but Indonesia, they know that the time is not on their side. Maybe it could go on their side, but they would also know when it is time to strike a move, to strike a pose towards making sure that most of these gigs are going to be possible. But Egypt trying to hold their own in this one, and Speedy just read by the rest of the members in.
Oh, here comes the real world. Zaman Force used as well. A lot of dives coming in from Indonesia.
No way.
They take another kill. The shortcuts are being used and we can't see what's happening. But there is a lot of damage falling down. It's a 1-for-1 look goes down, but we haven't seen how he fell down. Still a kill for the both spots.
Yeah, they got a kill. At least that's what they wanted. As we speak, another kill goes into the hands of Genji. You have a kill on Joki as well. But I feel like the main character for the later portions of the game has to be Speedy. They need to find a way to include him in most of the team fights, and I feel like that's what they're trying to do now. But until Speedy is at the bottom of that map and he's trying to fight it, he's trying to find something as of the moment, but he couldn't go at it right now because of the fact that Luke and even Kiboy are giving them such a hard time in trying to look for those damage dealers. And with that, they have already established a 4K gold lead that has been beneficial for this team so far.
And another turret goes down to the hands of Indonesia. The gold lead only grows. It's now 4,000 in the favor of Indonesia, and they're still looking for their next kill. What's good about Egypt is that they do have the arsenal to pull the trigger. They have the mobility, but they haven't really found the creative usage for it. All of their shortcuts have been reactive for the plays coming in of Indonesia, and they gotta be able to pull that trigger at least once. Find Indonesia in a spot that they do not want to be in, but looks like the turtle is gonna go to Indonesia for free, and that will be the third and last turtle shortcut used here. Maro getting bursted down. Real world already used with the Salmon Force, but electrifying beats deals a lot of damage, gets shut down by Luke immediately. That's a kill going to the hands of Indonesia.
It was too easy. They know the best time to turn, and during that time, that was at the 6 minutes and 45 seconds of that fight. Maro just looking for ways to be able to get included, but this is going to be the second death of the chip. Rarely do we ever say that, just because of how important it has been for most of the members of Indonesia to have been there, make sure that they could find something, but apparently not, because in a little bit more than a minute, Indonesia is already in cruise control of this game.
And speaking of control, Indonesia is just forcing it again and again, but Luke might be in a tough spot here, but the real world comes in clutch, and K-Boy with the play finds 3, but the damage coming in from Speedy starting to hurt now. He's going to be able to walk away, but that's already a 3-man kill squad coming in from Indonesia, and 514 is the kill score right now.
Just taking their sweet time are the Indonesians. They know that they have one of the biggest leads so far in the tournament, at 9,000 almost in terms of gold lead. And I feel like for Egypt, there's not a lot of things that you can do given the composition. You're going to have to depend on Joki and Speedy as well. And there is a fake diversion play, and usually a lot of people would do that to try and set themselves up for either success or failure. But Indonesia practically doesn't believe that, and he wants us to also pursue other things, and that's what they said. But as of the moment, here he goes again.
Another implosion play, and look at the zone control coming in from Sand and CW. Maro might just bite the dust. K-Boy tackles him into the wall, and that's 2 people down for Egypt as another 1v1 happens here. But nothing's gonna happen because that's the Nakai and that's a Hilda, and now we're having fun. MLBB, IESF 2024.
Yep, that's 2024 for you. No matter how, or no matter how many the rest of the ideas are here for Egypt. They will always have, a certain space in my heart if they want to. But as of the moment, it's Egypt who's just looking for ways to extend this game. Speedy, 1-1 as we speak. At least he got a kill for himself. Kenji is already having a hard time trying to get the members to, commit the damage output on him and for him to actually take care of it. So Maro's gonna have some cleanup to do, maybe even Alpha as well. But I am looking forward as to how this game is going to be ending. Is this the end? Will Indonesia find their way out of the group stages, or will Egypt take us to another game number 3?
We'll see, because this is just a level 1 Lord. Very deafable if you ask me, but Egypt, they're going to be able to throw out the damage to Luke and not to the Lord, and this is very crucial. That was a great play coming in from Luke, but Kenji already burning the electrifying beats, and Joki, half HP, has to go back. Doesn't really get that Harith explosion rather, as they defend the mid lane. 2 inhibitor turrets down for Egypt, and Indonesia is looking to clear out the 3rd one as well, but they're going to respect it this time around. They're just going to go back off.
Yeah, they're looking for a way for them to continue the initiation if they want to, but look at this. It's going to be Alpha joining the party. Apparently, that's not the best decision there so far, as Indonesia, they know that the diversion is going on, and they might go for the end.
Yeah, they might just go for the end here. Look at the burst damage. 3 people immediately gone, and Speedy says goodbye as Indonesia gets the clean sweep.
Yo, that was pretty quick, and we got our answer, Omi. The question was, how is the Indonesian team gonna approach this game knowing that they've already been defeated by underdogs? And I guess we got our answer from that. Domination has been the answer of Indonesia so far in the series when they went up against their fellow competitors. And as of that moment, they got the victory to make it into the next round of IESF.
And that was definitely a beautiful 2-game series coming in from Indonesia. And we could say the same for Egypt. They might be out of IESF MLBB right now after that loss against Indonesia, but they definitely showed everyone that they played well in this entire tournament. And with that close game number 1 and a very creative game number 2, that might just show a lot of improvement for the region of Egypt. And so far, these players are no strangers to international play, so that's another page to the book of learnings that they're going to have the moment that they're back in their local leagues.
Yeah, they were able to get more of these, and I know that they were probably thinking of how not ideal their loss to Saudi Arabia was, and that is how they tried to figure their approach for this game. It was a really good set of magic damage and physical damage output from Indonesia. Meanwhile, if you take a look at the other side, yes, you really do have the mobility. You have every chance for you to change it for the benefit of you and your team and for your region as well. Unfortunately, in these kinds of situations, they were just unable to deliver. I'm talking about Egypt in this one, because even Alpha was trying to utilize the heavy spin on the other members as well, and apparently that's not the most ideal thing to do if you are just right there already.
And so far for Indonesia, the journey continues. Congratulations once again for Indonesia. They are still alive in this tournament, and they could still prove all of their doubters and sadly bashers wrong, because right now they're playing excellent MLBB. I feel like that was just one good wake-up call. That loss to Saudi Arabia just woke them up good, and now this is the Indonesia that we've expected competing in this IESF, and the next few days is going to be amazing for our MLBB teams inside Riyadh.
Yeah, I am excited as to what could possibly be the scenario here. You're taking a look at at least the rundown of tonight's broadcast of games. Yesterday, we initially had the idea of three series being to cover, but now it's just gonna be two. We just saw USA getting a win going up against Morocco. Meanwhile, you also have Indonesia getting a sweep against Egypt. So, unfortunately for both Morocco and Egypt, their journey for IESF is going to be put to a halt all throughout today. Still, thank you so much for participating, and I'm sure that we are looking forward, or a lot of us are looking forward to how better you guys can be, how stronger you guys can be up until the next tournaments ahead. But for USA and for Indonesia, this doesn't end here. You still have a lot of opportunities to look forward to if you're both of these teams.
And these are the regions that has consistently competed in a high level. There are some new entries throughout the countries involved here in IESF. And when I say new entries, these are like players that have improved significantly in a way that they could already compete in an elite level of MLBB. So I'm pretty excited on what they could deliver as we move on towards the next few stages of this tournament. And even if we've already ended the next two series, Hans, we're going to give out another code for people here to claim. So hopefully you guys have fun and get whatever is inside those chests. Sadly, we can't do that because we're banned from doing it.
I don't. Are we banned from doing it? You know what?
Yep.
I understand where you're coming from. So let's just not do it anymore. These are up for grabs for you guys. So just go ahead and take it. Maybe you can claim it more than once if you're a fast typer such as fast typer that I know. I have no idea, but yeah, just go ahead and claim it. Unfortunately, you can't claim it now because it's gone. But as we speak, as of the moment, these right here are two of the teams that we could possibly expect moving forward into the IESF World Championship. It's USA and Indonesia. Talk to me about USA. Like, what is something that they need to do when they went up against Malaysia? Just final thoughts.
I'm just excited because USA, they've shown great potential against Morocco in our earlier series, and Indonesia seem to have woken up. So these two teams, for whoever they're going to face next, I'm sure, Hans, they're ready.
Yep, they are going to be ready for what is in store because, again, every win is going to be very important for the next stages of IESF World Esports Championship 2024. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to be seeing you next